General Electric, once a name your grandparents trusted, is now slashing 12,000 jobs and closing plants across America. Assembly lines that power generations are going dark. And this isn't some random corporate shakeup. It's happening in real time under President Donald J. Trump, whose administration recently tightened trade rules, doubling tariffs on steel and aluminum, a move that ripples across every corner of heavy industry. To see why GE is making such drastic cuts, you have to zoom out to the bigger economic picture: President Trump's tariff push. In 2025, the administration doubled steel tariffs from 25% to 50% and applied similar duties on aluminum and key industrial parts. The idea was to protect U.S. manufacturing, but for companies like GE, the result was far more complicated. Imagine trying to build a turbine or locomotive when the price of steel, casings, bolts, even the smallest parts, jumps overnight. Costs ballooned, making the U.S. one of the priciest places to build heavy equipment. Executives at GE, who rely on precise supply chains, faced a simple equation: keep production at home and pay more, or move it overseas where costs are manageable. The unintended result? Instead of keeping jobs in the U.S., tariffs pushed GE to send production abroad. And if a giant like GE can't make it work here, smaller manufacturers are staring down an even steeper hill. Before diving deeper into the closures, let's step back. General Electric isn't just another corporation, it's a symbol of American innovation and industrial might. For over a century, GE helped wire the country with electricity, pioneered jet engines, and fueled decades of progress. Its plants weren't just factories, they were the beating heart of towns across the Midwest and Northeast. Picture humming assembly lines in Ohio, sparks flying in Pennsylvania, and skilled hands passing parts down long workstations. Communities literally grew up around these plants. Schools, shops, and entire local economies were shaped by GE's presence. For decades, a GE job meant pride, stability, and a reliable path into the middle class. That's what makes today's closures so heavy. This isn't just a business decision. It's the unraveling of institutions tied to America's very identity. Jobs are disappearing, but so too is a sense of community, history, and security. Now we come to the human cost. General Electric has confirmed multiple plant closures across the U.S., directly hitting thousands of workers. Roughly 12,000 jobs are at risk, mostly in states like Ohio, New York, and Pennsylvania. But these aren't just numbers. They're families, legacies, and entire towns thrown into uncertainty. When a GE factory shuts down, the blow spreads fast. Local grocery stores see fewer customers, property values drop, tax revenues dry up, forcing schools and public services to cut back. It's like yanking out the keystone of a bridge. Suddenly, everything around it starts to wobble. For many workers, the loss is deeply personal. Skills were passed down from parent to child, sometimes across multiple generations. Interviews reveal workers feeling anxious, frustrated, and honestly, fearful. Some don't know if they'll ever find another job that pays as well nearby. Others face the tough choice of uprooting families to chase jobs overseas. Some smaller businesses may collapse outright because their livelihoods depended on GE contracts or the spending power of its workers. Behind the statistics are real lives being disrupted. Thousands of GE employees, many with decades at the company, are suddenly facing unemployment and the daunting challenge of starting over. For some families, GE wasn't just a job but a tradition, with parents, children, and even grandparents working side by side, passing down skills through the generations. Picture a town where the factory whistle once set the rhythm of daily life. Schools, shops, and local services thrived on the steady income of GE paychecks. Now, with the machine silent, families are staring at an uncertain future. The loss isn't only financial, it's deeply personal. Pride, purpose, and community identity are unraveling. Local leaders are scrambling. Some push retraining programs or short-term incentives, but these fixes often arrive too late or reach too few. Meanwhile, stress and fear ripple through households. Parents worry about mortgages and bills, while children sense the instability of their future. Before GE decided to shift production abroad, it exhausted every option to remain competitive in the United States. Executives tested automation, hoping robotics could offset labor costs. They negotiated with unions on temporary wage freezes, benefits adjustments, and longer shifts. Some plants were evaluated for consolidation or conversion into niche production hubs, but the math never worked. Tariffs on steel, semiconductors, and critical components kept driving costs higher. Even with automation, savings couldn't outweigh the added expenses. Relocating to lower tax states was also considered, but gaps in infrastructure and costly retooling killed the idea. It was like trying to patch a leaking ship. GE streamlined, renegotiated, and automated, but the hull of rising costs and trade volatility couldn't hold. The unavoidable conclusion staying in the United States meant long-term losses. GE's relocation decision doesn't just rock towns, it reverberates through financial markets. In the short term, the company faces heavy costs, decommissioning United States plants, transporting machinery overseas, adjusting to foreign regulations, and training new workers. But analysts see a longer-term upside. Once overseas plants hit full capacity, GE could slash production costs by up to 20%, thanks to cheaper labor, tax breaks, and easier customs. That boosts margins and positions GE closer to fast-growing global markets, critical for sectors like medical equipment and energy. Investors are split. Some worry about short-term instability and geopolitical risks. Others view it as a bold modernization play, aligning GE with global supply chains and insulating it from United States-specific cost pressures. Hedge funds and industrial investors are already shifting portfolios toward firms that can adapt internationally. But GE's move isn't just a corporate headline, it carries national consequences. Losing major manufacturing capacity erodes America's ability to remain self-reliant in critical areas like energy, healthcare tech, and advanced machinery. That creates vulnerabilities in times of geopolitical strain or supply chain disruption. It also exposes the limits of tariffs and protectionist policies. Tariffs alone can't save domestic industry. Without complementary measures, investment incentives, modern infrastructure, and workforce development, even iconic companies struggle to stay afloat. Think of it like national defense. If factories and technical expertise shift abroad, the United States loses industrial leverage. GE's departure signals that resilience requires strategy, not just protectionism. GE's exit isn't isolated. Other giants, like Honeywell and Caterpillar, are also reassessing whether large-scale United States production can survive rising costs and trade instability. Meanwhile, countries such as Vietnam, Poland, and Mexico are seizing the moment, marketing themselves as 21st-century industrial hubs. They combine lower labor costs with modern infrastructure, lighter regulation, and tax incentives designed to pull in multinationals. The result is a global race for industrial capital where economics, not patriotism, decide where factories land. GE's relocation is a clear alarm bell. Without a forward-looking industrial strategy, America risks a steady erosion of manufacturing power. GE's departure isn't just restructuring, it's a wake-up call. Tariffs can't single-handedly shield domestic industry from global competition. Rising costs and shifting markets demand forward-thinking, data-driven policies. The human toll is real. Communities are struggling, workers are displaced, and the country's industrial base is under strain. The urgent questions now: will the United States adapt to global realities or continue ceding ground? Can policymakers design smart incentives and infrastructure to keep companies rooted at home? And for everyday Americans, what does Made in USA really mean when production increasingly happens overseas? The map of American manufacturing is being redrawn. The only question is, where do we go from here? Drop your thoughts in the comments, join the conversation, and help shape the debate about the future of United States industry.